Talk with your host here, Matthew Lyle. I'm joined today by Buck Massey III and Grant Hefe himself. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
Doing all right.
Doing
Fine
fantastic,
Thursday morning.
man. Fantastic as always.
Awesome. We're creeping in to our holiday season. Mike already gave us his Merry Christmas last time. A little premature, but we'll take it. Thank you for your thoughts there, Mike. Today on the show, we got a couple of things we're going to dive into. We're going to go all over the sports landscape. We are going to start with some breaking news that just came out. Josh Gordon on his Twitter said he is stepping away from football and the Patriots for quite some time. What's your thoughts on it, guys?
To me, this kind of sounds like he's probably went back, started doing the stuff that he was doing before. There's no reason why, just because of 2 losses. I wouldn't think that this guy would just want to call it quits right now. If we do remember this guy in the offseason or earlier in the year when he was still playing with Cleveland, in the offseason or in training camp, he took some time off, said he needed to get himself right, went back to rehab and all that other stuff. I think he's probably went back to smoking weed, and that's a no-no because Bill Belichick is not going to have you messing up more than once. We had this conversation before when he missed the practice or when he was late for practice or whatever. And I said then, if he messes up again, he's done. He's probably know that he's on that verge of messing up. That's the only logical explanation for this.
Yeah, and
Mike, what to say you?
Yeah, and I got to kind of echo the same thing. If you are not having a very successful season, he's only been thrown at the ball 71 times, and he only has 41 receptions on the year. This is a guy that is used to being the guy on the team, like getting 10 to 12 touches per game, being tossed at 15, 18 times a game, and averaging 2 to 3 scores, so it is very easy to fall back into your old ways if you are not succeeding at like what you normally succeed at. I really truly hope he is not in that habit again.
Just to cut you off real quick, Mike, yeah. I just looked it up. He said he want to focus on his mental health. So I actually congratulate him on that. That's a big step. But go ahead. I didn't want to derail you. I just wanted to make sure we got the facts. He said he wanted to step away for mental health reasons.
Yeah, and
mental health is more important, is what he said.
Yeah, and yes, and health is a lot more important. But that makes me kind of wonder what exactly is happening in his life. That because most of us, football is that escape. So you can leave your mind for those 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon. So just with that being said, I really truly hope that he is not in a an anxiety or a depression or something, and hopefully he figures it out. Because at the end of the day, he is a human being, and we don't want to see him hurt himself in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I'm going to say that I don't think this has anything to do with anything on field. Because Billy did bring up a point. Surely 2 losses wouldn't get to him because he played for the Cleveland Browns when they were really struggling. So your point, Mike, about him being the number 1 guy, really, I thought it's probably high school. He's only been the number 1 guy that 1 year he came out and surprised everybody. He couldn't have trouble at Baylor long enough to really be the go-to guy. He had that one amazing year at Cleveland, but since then he hasn't played a full season. And even this year with the Patriots, he's got some decent numbers. But you got to remember, he came in late. He came into a system where other guys had already found their role. I do truly think that, and we've talked about this with a bunch of other things, where you talk about what happened with the likes of Junior Seau or Aaron Hernandez or guys that are getting in trouble for off-the-field incidents. Why do you see that more in the NFL opposed to other sports? I think Mike, this is a relaxation and a getaway for us as fans, but for them, it's darn near a war. And I think what happened, and maybe I'm going to be a little biased here because I'm a Patriots fan, but you've seen guys come into New England and be a little better for it, personally-wise. I think what happens is he had a lot going on. Maybe he had a rough childhood. Maybe he had a lot in his life with some mental problems. concern, anxiety, stress, all those things that happen to anybody, depression. And when he was with other organizations or he was in college, his escape was drugs. And then when he came to New England, I think this is a sign of, to Billy's point, growth and respect that he developed in New England. I think all these things, I think he realized that playing for Tom Brady, playing on a Super Bowl contending team, didn't take his depression, anxiety, stress, whatever it may be. I don't want to imply anything here, but I think he thought that would be his drug. And when come to find out it probably wasn't, I imagine he talked to the team. He said he was really close with Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. I imagine
he thanked both of those guys.
Yeah. And I imagine that his takeaway, the team decided, you know what, before you do that, before you go back to drugs, before you go back to doing other vices, let's get you help. Let's just step away from football. I mean, if any team could deal with it, it'd be the Patriots. They play with whatever receiver lineup, so they're not going to think about themselves first on that front. And I think it saved faith in Josh Gordon, because let's say he would have went back to the weed smoking. To Billy's point, he'd have been booted off the team. He'd have had to. The NFL wouldn't allow it, and it would have killed his image. Even though I think there is a bigger picture here. I think that there is some mental concerns, and football is not the escape for these players. I think to a bigger point, I think that's where all this starts. Kids grow up in a rough environment. Kids grow up with stress, depression. They think the money. They think, oh, once I get that NFL check, all my stress and depression will go away, and it doesn't. And then they're like, oh, well, I'll get the fame and the women and the trophies, and it doesn't. Okay, I'll turn to drugs, and it doesn't. And maybe the drugs do cope, and you keep doing it, and then next thing you know, all that's gone. And that stress, depression, anxiety is still there. So all sports aside, I hope the best for him. I mean, because I don't know what's going on, but everything out him, and then what we're seeing more and more of football enveloping, I think this sport takes a huge toll on kids, especially when you get kids playing it for 30 years at a position that takes a lot of hits, pretty much anything but kickers and quarterbacks.
Well,
I hope the best for him.
Well, just before we get too carried away off of this topic, you brought up Junior Seau, and let's hope that he does not go down that road, and the Patriots are taking proper precautions, and himself is taking proper precautions, just in case he does have that the CTSD or something like that. I believe that. CTE. Yeah, CTE. Hopefully he does not have an advanced stage of that, and bringing the depression, or we are alluding to a depression, but it could be anything else. It could be his wife left him, or something.
And it could be things, and I think that's a lot of things, and me and we've all talked about this, about how people look at sports stars and they don't give them the same problems they give. We all have had jobs where we work a lot, whether it be for a week, a year, 2 years. That takes a toll on our family. Imagine you're gone for 6 months of the year. You see your family seldom times. If you're good, if you want to be good at your craft, you have to study film. There was that old Braylon Edwards commercial where he said football season was 13 months a year. That's told. And I'm not. You're right, Mike. We don't know what it is, but it could just be anything. And people think, oh, these guys are on TV. They got all this money, so they have such great lives. At what cost? And I don't think it'll go the Junior Seau route, because Junior Seau had been retired for several years, and he played in a generation when we didn't even want to acknowledge CTE was real, at least the public. Over the last decade, in the last 5 years, we've grasped it more, and we've been more aware. So I think he definitely can get the help. I think he is with an organization that can help identify that, opposed to just cut him and say, kick rock.
Yeah, I mean, and if we really talk on the field, I mean, he's had a nice season. We're talking 737 yards and 4 touchdowns when he missed a few games with the Browns. If I'm not mistaken, did he not miss his first game when he got to the Patriots? Did he miss that first game? I'm not sure.
Yeah, he sat out a week and a half or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And he's still at 4 touchdowns. Julio Jones, a guy who we probably want to talk about later, in another discussion, he got 6 touchdowns on the year. So and that's supposed to be the best receiver in football. and he only had 1,500 yards as the number one guy. And Josh Gordon wasn't the number one guy on his team. I think he had a pretty good season, but focusing on the mental health side, as a guy who do suffer from mental health, this takes a lot of courage from a guy to say, I'm going to step away from doing something that I probably love to do, but it's probably not safe for me, especially with all the head banging and all that other stuff. So kudos to Josh Gordon. Hope he gets right. Now,
and to
the Patriots.
Well, to your first point, Billy, I think a lot of people see Tom Brady just come out here and chuck it to everybody. But if you're a true football fan, if you're a true Patriots guy, if you just watch the intricacies of this offense, you know this isn't a plug-and-play offense. This isn't just, hey, you're fast, go run goals all day. No. So, yes, he had to stop the first week. And then the next 2 weeks was basically him trying to find out what does Tom Brady like. And the first touchdown he had was the one where he jumped up between two Colts defenders and came down with it. So it was like It was almost like Tom Brady's like, I'm trusting you, and Josh Gordon was like, you can trust me. And then he had a really good season from that point. But yeah, just on the on-field stuff, I think if you would have if he would have played, not taking the reasons his off-the-field stuff, I think if he would have played entirely this season and say Tom Brady still had another season in him, I think he would have seen a great Josh Gordon. So I hope the best for him, because I think he showed a lot of people out there, if we can take care of my off-field stuff on the field, we're cool. But as far to your point, that's a good question you asked there, Billy. No, you know what? I'm going to kind of save that one for another day, because I don't know what he's going through, and I would hate to make this 100% football. Like, where does the Patriots go next? Maybe we can touch on that tomorrow or next week, because I do feel bad for Josh Gordon, because I feel like as somebody who's been in so much trouble, this is the most responsible thing he's done since coming to the NFL.
Yep, I
agree.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
So we're going to move on. A little lighter here. Michael probably tell you this is overrated and a waste of our time. But, hey, what are we going to do? But Pro Bowl came out. Thoughts on it? Snub, people that you thought shouldn't be in it. Billy, we'll start with you. Who was the biggest snub? Who was somebody that you looked at it and maybe you don't have a replacement for it, but you said they should not be there? Go.
I'm going to go the two top quarterbacks in both divisions, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. I don't think neither one of those guys should be in the Pro Bowl this year. You look at in the NFC, a guy like Matt Ryan, who's completed 70% of his passes, while Aaron Rodgers only completed 52%. He got 4,300 yards. Aaron Rodgers only got 39. He got 30 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, while Aaron Rodgers 23 to 2 interceptions. I think he's had a better year. Tom Brady, I think a guy, Andrew Luck, who's completing 67% of his passes, a little bit over Tom Brady, who's at 66. Tom Brady got 28 more yards than he do throwing the football, but Andrew Luck has 10 more touchdowns, 13 interceptions. So I think it's just, to me, it's almost like the NBA, where it's the most popular award. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady should be Pro Bowls. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, and I kind of think the same thing there. Like I think Tom Brady, I believe he has had one of his worst seasons since 2003 or 4 or something like that. I can't remember for sure, but this is his worst season stat wise in a very, very long time. Aaron Rodgers, I feel it is hard to keep him out just because he seems to still do his thing still, but I think there are better quarterbacks out there than him as far as this season goes. As far as players that kind of got the snub, the Carolina tailback. His first name slipping my mind right now, but
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I really feel like they should have found a way to get him in there. He has had a pretty good season, but if you look at it, like, he just has three tailbacks that are better than like he is stat wise and popularity wise, as Billy alluded. So I feel McCaffrey got the kind of the snub there.
And that's a good point you brought there, Mike. I want to touch on that in a second. My thought on this is I'm going to go with the two Colts guys. I mean, this is a team that had a top 5 pick last year. They're on the edge of making the playoffs this year. And I think that you look at what was different. Well, Andrew Luck on offense, who was top 2 in every passing category there is. And then on defense, Darius Leonard. I mean, yes, I know he's a rookie, but he leads the country in tackles for loss. He's up there with sacks. He's got a couple he got several interceptions. And I mean, I think those are two people that weren't on that team last year that was really bad. And now this team is a contender to get into the playoffs. And you know how the NFL is for the playoffs. Once they get in, anybody stands a chance. So I think leaving both those guys off, especially at those positions, because if you look at those positions, I think there are guys that you could have left off. Of course, the popular one there is Tom Brady, who I think he's doing all right at 41, but I think we got to hold everyone to the standard. We can't say, hey, I'm going to let this guy in because he had good rookie numbers, even though his numbers tailed to everyone else. At the same token, you can't say, hey, look, this guy's got good numbers at 41, but in big span things doesn't really stand up.
And
to what Mike, what's up, Mike?
Well, I was just going to say, just to add to that point there, Matthew, like, looking at the AFC quarterbacks, who do you really take, I'm looking at the NFC quarterbacks here. Who do you really take out, though, or who do you put in to leave Aaron Rodgers out?
Matt Ryan.
You think he's...
Well, Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson. I mean, I wouldn't even talk about the NFC. I'm talking about the AFC.
Well, yeah.
I mean, because your 3 quarterbacks are Patrick Mahomes, definitely deserves it.
Yeah.
Philip Rivers deserves it. But then you leave Tom Brady and Andrew Luck. I mean, yeah, Tom Brady's doing great for 41, but we're looking at the NFL. Give me Andrew Luck.
I mean, these guys are probably still getting in anyways because Brady won't go, Rodgers won't go, so they're going to find a replacement. And guys like Russell Wilson and, Matt Ryan will probably get the next go up.
I think Aaron Rodgers goes.
Then you look at.
I think Aaron Rodgers goes.
Then, I don't think one reason.
No, I doubt it.
Well, then you also got to take into account that I would imagine that Philip Rivers for Patrick Mahomes, one of those two has a really good chance to make the Super Bowl. So they don't get agreed. So they won't place him. I'm with you. I don't think Tom Brady goes. I mean, he's been elected. This is his 14th. So even if he don't make the Super Bowl, I don't think he goes.
And Tom Brady hasn't played in that game since like 2009, 2010.
Right.
So he's not going to play. He never does.
Yeah, and the thing is with Tom Brady doesn't, maybe especially not now, you probably make an argument for his whole career. Patrick Mahomes is an all-star football guy. When I think all-star games, I think 80-yard passes and crazy stuff. Tom Brady's the type of guy that's great because he knows everybody on the field, and he's going to throw deep and dunks. We don't want to watch Steve can dunk in the Pro Bowl.
And he's normally playing in the AFC Championship game and in the Super Bowl, so he never really gets a chance to.
And let's be honest, I don't think we want to see Tom Brady try a 60-yard pass anymore. So,
no. I mean, Rodgers getting a new coach. I doubt that he risked that to play in a Pro Bowl. Where Aaron Jones also went on IR. They're not trying to do that.
Well, Mike brought up a point there. Christian McCaffrey, a lot of things are going up. Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara got left out. But you look at their running back, Barkley, Zeke, and who's the other one I'm missing that had really great numbers too?
James Conner.
Yeah, all those numbers. They all had more yards total and more rushing yards than the other two. Do you feel that they should be almost like a position with fantasy football? Mike brought it up there. I don't think either of them return many kickoffs, but maybe you could sneak them in as kind of a flex because I think you can bump either one of them up to a wide receiver position. Do you think they should put like a flex position available for the Pro Bowl for guys who really do a lot of stuff? Like, say, for example, I know the guy's numbers wasn't good enough, but like, say, Cordell Patterson for the Patriots. The guy plays receiver and he plays running back. Number-wise, he's not going to show up either one, but if he had a great season, he would look great all across the board. Do you think there should be a position for your Kamaras and your Caffrey that have 800 yards rushing and 800 yards receiving, but there's people with more in both categories?
That's tough for me because they are a running back. So if I'm going by what they are, then I like it the way that it is. Cordell Patterson, I think that's more of an outlier because they just let him do whatever because he can kind of do whatever. And so can McCaffrey and Kamara. Obviously, they run the ball, they catch the ball. But I just think their primary running back that'll just used in the passing game because they're so good. So I like it the way that it is.
And
all right, well, Mike, quick thought on that?
Yeah, and I got to kind of go the other way. Honestly, the Pro Bowl is probably one of the most unwatchable things out there as of right now. So, like, if you get all of your stars in there, like your Christian McCaffrey and the Alvin Kamara, like, you get all of your stars out there, more people will tune into, like, watch. And then it'll be more of like an all-star Pro Bowl type of thing. So, like, I think they should try to incorporate that in somehow, some way. I don't know how they would, because if you add a flex, like, you're adding eight more spots on a team, and I don't know how the playing time would actually work then, because you could
probably.
I mean, yeah, I get that, but the guys that they got are exciting.
Yeah,
I mean,
if
you watch Saquon
agree.
play, if you've seen him play, this guy's exciting. Todd Gurley, I mean, an exciting player. And Zeke, I mean, it's not as if they got snubbed by guys that wasn't better or is not exciting. You know, they're running back. So you take the three best running backs. I think they did. Kamara had a nice season, but that's like the point guards in the Western Conference, Mike Conley and Damian Lillard. These guys get snubbed every year. Why?
Right.
Because they got guys like James Harden and Russell Westbrook and Steph Curry, in front of them. It's just the nature of it.
That's a great point, Billy. They do. And sometimes there's only bigs in the NBA to get brought in only because they needed a big that it would be exactly hard. So that's a great point. And look, maybe we shouldn't let this 1 year, and I think it's just kind of a 1 year thing, because when the running backs you listed, Todd Gurley, Saquon Barkley, and Zeke, what makes them so fun to watch is the way they just break out of tackles. Nobody's going to be tackling. So you're not going to get to see that. I don't know if you're going to see that much effort. You might see it from Barkley because he's a rookie. But, you're not going to see anybody try to tackle Zeke, three guys, and see him carry them. The refs are going to blow a whistle when contact's made immediately. So I think this is just that one down year that I would rather see Kamara juking than I would see Zeke trucking, because they're not going to allow for trucking in this game.
But I will say this, that's how spoiled the NFL is getting us, because there's so much offense. We're going to see this a lot more often. We're going to see this going down in the years coming, where people get left off because there's so much offense that it's impossible to put everybody on the roster.
And
great point.
And just to add to everybody's point there, Christian McCaffrey will probably make his way in there somehow, some way, because either Zeke or Todd Gurley will be in the Super Bowl, so he'll find his way.
I see. Mike's put the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. That's how you know it's time to move on. So we're going to move on here. We're going to try to go through some of the quicker little topics I got to go through here. Yesterday was National Signing Day. Obviously, me and Billy had more of an interest in this than I think Mike did. You had Alabama, no surprise, being number one. You had 10 SEC teams in the top 25, 12 in the top 30. You had some newcomers or old returnees. Oregon made the top 5. Billy was very frustrated about Florida State, but they still finished with a top 20 class. Ohio State up there as always. Texas A&M, Georgia round out the top 5 to make their way in and kind of give Alabama some pressure. Billy, who was your signing day winner?
I'm going to say Texas A&M. And, I did my show yesterday, and I talked about it a little bit. But then, I stopped recording, and I started to think. And I've been saying this for the longest. Anytime I say anything about Jimbo Fisher, I always say I don't think he's a good coach. But what I know Jimbo Fisher can do, and that's recruit. All the years Jimbo Fisher was the head coach of Florida State, we were in the top 5 outside of, I believe, his very first year. Jimbo Fisher can recruit. He can recruit, and he can put you in the NFL. He's put 4 quarterbacks in the NFL, all first-round picks, from Jamarcus Russell at his time as offense coordinator at LSU, and 3 Florida State guys, Christian Ponder, E.J. Manuel, and Jameis Winston. And he got this Texas A&M recruiting class about to finish third in the country in his first year as head coach there. This guy's going to be able to compete with Nick Saban because now he has an SEC-type defense, unlike what he kind of had at FSU, where we were more finessed, you know. And now he's still going to be getting those players from Texas. He went and got Christian Ponder from Texas. He can recruit in the North. That's where he got Jalen Ramsey from. He can recruit out in California. He still got the ties down in Florida. So Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M, they're primed to have a really good career or really good season while Jimbo Fisher's there. That's why I didn't blame him for taking the job. Plus, if somebody gives you $75 million, why not take it?
Right.
Mike, you care enough to give us an answer?
Yeah, and I got to echo everything of what Mr. Hatton just said there. But like I really can't stop at one team. I have to go with I have to go with the SEC as a whole. They have 9 schools in the top 25 in this early signing period. So I mean, like this is just telling you like how deep and like how competitive the SEC is starting to get. I mean, like we have done shows where we said it is Alabama and then the rest. Now, I mean, like now you really have to open up your eyes. Well, Georgia is ranked number 2, A&M is 3, LSU is even number 4. So like the SEC as a whole, like I said, they have 9 teams in the top 25 in this early recruiting signing period. So the SEC conference games are going to be so much fun to watch. Maybe not this next year, but the years 2 and 3, like as these kids start to mature and they start learning their roles, like on these teams. SEC is going to be a very, very good conference, and just like I cannot take anything from the SEC as a whole right now.
Well, let me slide in here. So originally, I think the obvious answer is Alabama because they're always number 1, and
they were number 4 last year,
though. That number 1. Well, either way, you get up there. Alabama stays typically in the top 1 or 2, and then when they do fall to 4,
last year was their first year in 6 years that they wasn't number 1. So they got
and one little 6 years, and then they come out and be one of the best teams in the country, or arguably probably the best team in the country. But I was going to go with Georgia because I thought with Georgia hovering around up in the top, they can get the weapons to compete with Bama. But Billy sold me on Texas A&M. I think that's a great point. Jimbo and all the recruiting history. Now he's in the state of Texas. Now he's in a quote-unquote football conference where, everybody, there's some pride to wear. Look, I know the ACC and everybody has champions too, but let's be real. When we think SEC, we think the football patch on the shoulder, those retro jerseys that are kind of throwback to the older days. To Mike's point, sadly, as much as I'm an SEC guy, I can't really agree with that because if you look at last year, SEC had, I think, 9 teams in the top 25. Year before, 8 to 10 teams. What happens is that the problem is, yes, they get these big-time recruits, but Mike said something very important there that does not happen. Know your role. The SEC leads in transfers. Now, obviously, they bring a lot of guys in, but they also have a lot of guys out because what happens is kids want their cake and eat it both. Kids want to be patted on the back, put on that Bama hat, put on that Georgia hat. Kids want to get the SEC love yesterday, today, National Signing Day, but then when it comes time to go into campus and you actually got to work for it and you actually got to be a backup and you realize that everyone around you is every bit as good as you and not better, it's not as fun anymore. Now you're like, I want out of here. Now you're like, well, I kind of missed the way Clemson was talking to me. I missed the way Ohio State was talking to me. They start feeling, as silly as it sounds, they start feeling like kids in relationships. You get committed into a nice little high school relationship and, I missed the way so-and-so's nice to you. Yes, these kids will commit and they want to go to the SEC because they want that. Imagine if you commit to an SEC school, there's just something magical about National Signing Day. But then once it comes time to put the work in, a lot of kids just don't have it. And that's why you see kids slumping from Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Florida, and for some reason they stay in Bama. I mean, I guess you can go into a conversation about and talk of benefits, but you don't really see them, unless they're a quarterback, you don't really see them fleeing from Bama very much. So it'll be interesting to see.
On a On a quick side note here, did you guys see that LSU coach's press conference, like after he told his kids to be quiet, like four or five times? I gained a lot. I gained a lot of respect for the LSU coach at that time. Like, if you guys haven't, go check it out. And his voice, man, like
I think I've seen something like that, but I just skipped past it.
Yeah. Ed Orgeron's got a voice. I mean, let me all right, moving on to some quicker topics here. Anthony Davis, a lot of the hype rumors says he's going to L.A. LeBron says he would love to have him. Boston's working up a package. They want to try to send a whole bunch of first picks that aren't thirds, so it'd be higher picks. They want to send some other great talent to New Orleans to try to get Anthony Davis. Giannis at the game yesterday was telling Anthony Davis to come join him in Milwaukee. I don't know what's going to happen. None of us really do. Where do you think the best destination for Anthony Davis is? Take a couple minutes here. Mike, what do you got?
So, looking forward, if Anthony Davis were to get traded in the next 6 weeks before that NBA trade deadline, I think he would fit great in LA because they are a piece, maybe two pieces, like a way of really competing in the West in like a realistic fashion. Like, I think right now they're ranked 4th or 5th in that conference, but they legitimately don't have the players or the depth to make a deep run in the playoffs. Now, if Anthony Davis were to wait until free agency, then he could go to the Celtics, where they're clearly are wanting him and making a push. Would he be a great fit? I really don't know. But to be honest, I think Anthony Davis stays where he's at. He said in a press conference after the game, he is focusing on turning this team around, meaning the New Orleans Pelicans, where he's at. And I think he is a guy that wants to stay where he started and maybe build something great there.
Billy, what say you?
I think his best fit will actually be with Kyrie on the Boston Celtics. To me, that's the best fit, because you will have more of a inside-outside game, and although Kyrie works in that mid-range area, it's more dribbling, shooting off shot, pick and roll. I think him and Anthony Davis would be perfect there. Now, of course, it'll work with Anthony Davis and LeBron. They're two great players. Of course, any two great players will be able to work together. Kyrie and LeBron didn't necessarily go together. They were just so great that it couldn't fail. So for me, Anthony Davis to Boston Celtics, it'd be him, Kyrie. I think they were gonna give away Tatum and Morris and some more guys. He'll be in the Eastern Conference. I think they'll be able to get over that Philadelphia team, who I don't really know what they are. Ben Simmons still can't hit a 2-foot jumper.
He's horrible, isn't he?
The Raptors only with Kawhi Leonard. Who knows if he actually wants to stay in Toronto, or do he really want to go to the Clippers? Because that's been a really big thing, Kawhi to the Clippers. So Anthony Davis, Boston Celtics, Eastern Conference, I think him and Kyrie will be able to run that conference for a long time.
Just to add to that point, though, he cannot go to the Celtics, or the Celtics can't even offer a trade till the end of the year. So if the Pelicans are going to want to get compensation for him, they're going to trade him at the trade deadline.
Yeah, but he still has 2 years left on his deal.
Right, and why couldn't what's the deal with Boston trading? I mean, they're
it is something about how Kyrie signed an extension with Cleveland, and then he went to the Celtics. So the Celtics cannot pick up another extension type thing before the end of the year. I didn't quite understand what they were.
From my understanding, they can trade for him, they just can't sign him, and they can't trade Kyrie. But as long as they trade a pick that they just didn't get, and they don't trade a player that they just traded for, they should be good. I mean, from my understanding, now obviously I know the NBA.
But he has 2 years left on his deal anyway, right. So he's there this year. and next year
Yeah.
regardless. So there's really no rush to trade
Yeah.
him this year because you still have another year.
And to both the points here, I mean, New Orleans, he seems to like it. New Orleans could, with 2 years, New Orleans could talk him into staying. Now, I'm going to be real selfish here and real quick because
He's
I
not
have the
going to
future
Golden
answers to all my faith.
He's not going to Golden
Well,
State.
hear me out. KD's done. You let KD go. KD decides he doesn't want to sign again. You let Draymond go. Boogie obviously signs a big deal. You got 2 guards who seem to be happy there, staying Clay and Steph. They're very unselfish guards. You let with all those other players leaving, you can sign Clay, Steph, and Anthony Davis to almost as much money as they want. Now you got a guy that really you can't double and triple team. He showed you at a time in Kentucky he doesn't need to take the most shots. You got 2 very unselfish guards, and you got 2 guards that love to shoot threes. The putback potential is off the chart. Now, obviously, I don't think he'll go, but I mean, if New Orleans never shops him, and a couple things fall away, we both spent several segments talking about how the Warriors, some of those bigger pieces could fall. The money to offer him, and with them essentially by that time having the Jerry world of NBA stadiums, there's going to be a lot to offer the man. I mean, who knows what he wants, but it'd be very interesting. And as a Warriors fan, you would have, I mean, you can't call Clay and Steph young, but you would have pretty young, locked-in pieces
They would be
around you. You don't have to worry about this.
They are definitely in their prime still.
Yeah, you don't have to have this conversation every year of, the Warriors going to fall apart this summer because you have your 3 main pieces. And then you could probably go out and afford whatever that version of Kyle Korver is, just a young, cheaper shooter.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, real quick here. Our last main segment before we get into our little games we like to play. For this segment, Mike, I know you're a Kentucky fan, but I'm going to give you K-State because I'm a Kentucky fan, so it just kind of evens everything out. And I'm assuming, Billy, you're a Duke fan. I know you're a Duke fan. For college basketball, Christmas time coming up, meet of the schedule's coming up, conference play is about to start. Time you get into conference play, you're going to be running right into March Madness. For your team, if you could give your team anything, and it doesn't have to be like realistic, it doesn't have to be an actual gift. If you could grant your team anything for Christmas to prepare for March, what would it be? Billy, start.
I'm going to say a center. I think we need a center. I like Marquise Bolden, but I think if we had one of those college-type, Jahlil Okafor type guys, I think we'll be all right.
Mike?
And I'm going to have to go with 2 ankles for my man, Dean Wade. He is out 6 to 8 weeks.
That is what inspired this question, Mike. That's why I gave you K-State. I saw your Dean Wade post. That's what inspired this entire question. I wasn't trying to boot you off the Kentucky bandwagon. I just wanted to hear what you said. Answered perfectly. Please continue.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas State, we shown it in the Big 12 championship game or in the Big 12 conference playoff last year. When Dean Wade isn't on the court, our team just isn't very good. And since Dean Wade's been hurt, we've been struggling against a team like Tulsa. And I guess you can say we struggle against Marquette too, but Marquette is now ranked like 14th or 15th in the nation, I do believe. But give me 2 good ankles for my man, Dean Wade.
And I'm going to say, for Kentucky, give me a 3-point shooter. I mean, give me 3-point shot falling. I know we got Tyler Hero, Jamal Baker's coming back, and his 2 minutes of play was 2 for 2 from the 3-point line. Give me a consistent 3-point shooter. I mean, Cal's going to get these guys playing defense right down the stretch. Just need some scoring.
All right, guys, we just need a consistent shooter to hit 60% of a shot. That'd be fantastic.
And I think that Keldon Johnson's coming along. Scoring in the paint's not going to be a problem. It's what happens when defenses pack the paint and make you shoot threes.
Yep.
So we're going to get here to our game final segments here. One thing I will say is, if you notice, all of our games are essentially the same. I just changed the name. Mike doesn't pay me enough to be creative. So the first game we're going to go is, the kids like to say, show me the lie. I'm going to give you 3 statements, and you're either going to show me the lie or say no lie to take. Rules seem pretty simple. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes will be NFL MVP. Show me the lie. Mike.
The only way I can show you the lie is if he gets beat in the first round of the playoffs. If the Chiefs drop down to that 5 seed and they lose that first round, it will show that Patrick Mahomes does not show up in these big games. So you'd have to give it to Drew Brees at that point.
Billy,
I think he will be the MVP. I think
no lie detected?
no lie.
All right.
No lie.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, I butchered that name, the Greek freak, is the best player in the NBA. Show me the lie.
Ooh, no lie detected. I saw him play last night, and he looks like a complete all-around player right now.
Billy, show me the lie.
LeBron James.
There you go.
Best player in the NBA.
Show me the lie. He did. And final one here. It is a smart decision to bench Cam Newton for the remainder of the season. Show me the lie, Billy.
No lie detected.
Mike.
So the real question is, who are you asking? Are you asking the coach of the Carolina Panthers, or are you asking the organization of the Carolina Panthers?
Just asking you as a football fan, my friend.
Well, as a fan, it is smart to bench him, so no lie detected.
All right. Going
I
on
think
to
that's
one of
what
our
it is too, right?
No, because that coach is fighting for his job. You want your best guy out there to give a position to win the game.
At this point, I think Ron Rivera's fate sealed. If in their mind,
they're not getting to the playoffs,
it's going to happen. Yeah, so I think actually this is smart for him because you get to come back in there and say, hey, see how we started? Give me a healthy Cam Newton. I can do
Exactly.
All right, I'm going to add one flash emergency. Show me the lie. Next year, there will be a 4-point line in the NBA. Show me the lie.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
No, Billy. No, it's never going to happen. Mike, go with it.
No, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. I guess they can try it out in the All-Star games, see how it works, see if people will like it, but I don't see it happening anytime soon within the next 10 years.
All right, we're going to bump on to here to Would You Rather. I'm going to give you two options. You pick what you'd rather have. On your favorite NFL team, would you rather have a rookie, Saquon Barkley, as a running back, or a rookie defender, Darius Leonard? Billy.
Saquon Barkley. Give me the points.
Mike.
I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, so I got to go with the defensive guy because our defense is horrendous.
Not surprised at all. Who do you give the blame to more? Or which do you think is more egregious? When a player commits to a school and then flips last minute, or when a coach gives a scholarship and then pulls it last minute? Billy.
Coach give a scholarship and pull the last minute.
Mike.
I am assuming that the coach hasn't switched schools or like anything like that. So pulling the scholarship is kind of a punch in the throat.
Yeah, I'm going to go there too. I got to side with you guys on that one. My point on it. To your point, Mike, I guess when the guy did it at Louisville, that made a little sense. He's a new coach.
Yeah.
But when you look at just your typical coaches doing it, I think they're both frowned upon. I'm not a fan of both because I think once a player commits, the coach stops recruiting. But also, you're dealing with adults with kids. I mean, if I had to make an important decision when I was 18, please don't hold me to that to this day. And I think as an adult, especially as a grown man, to steal from Mike Dundee, I'm a man, I'm 40. When you're a man and you're 40, I expect you to stick to your decision.
Yep.
Yeah, but go ahead. No, I was just going to say, I agree with both you guys. What are you saying, Billy? I'm going to move on to the next.
No, I was just going to say on that, I think a commitment is a little bit different than a coach actually pulling a scholarship because now you're taking away opportunities instead of just saying, oh, I changed my mind, Oh, I'm giving you just an okay, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I have the right to change my mind, but to take away an opportunity, I think that's a little bit different.
then just to allude to that point, if a player commits to your school and you're offering him a scholarship, that is potentially taking a scholarship away from another kid. So either way, like it sucks. But like a coach taking away a scholarship is nothing more.
Sounds like maybe one day we could tap into a little more of that. I mean, it's going to happen until the cows come home or guys want to transfer out. Would you rather? Would you rather have your college basketball team go 40-0 and win one national title, or 35-5 but win two national titles? Billy.
35-5 and win two national titles.
Mike.
Well, I think the correct answer is going to be 2. But if you go 40-0 and you win a national championship and you're undefeated, your name is forever locked in the history books. But as a smart fan, I'm going to go with 2 national championships.
All right, guys. It's very tough. I think there's something great to be said about going 40-0, but 2 is always better than 1. All right, at the last segment here, I'm going to give you some rules for college football that I'm going to force through. I'll tell you guys are a part of the rules committee in college football. I'm going to present you with some quick rules that I want changed. You either say pass or deny. That's all I need from you. I'm going to give you a rule, and if you agree with it, pass. We're going to go Billy, then Mike. So we're going to go through this quick. Number 1, get rid of all conference divisions. Pass or deny?
Pass.
Deny.
Mike.
Deny.
Rule number 2. All conferences will play the same number of conference games. Pass or not, Billy?
Deny.
Yeah.
Mike.
I'm going to have to go with Billy. Deny.
As we talked about this plenty of times, so I'm going to present a new playoff to you guys. 18, all 5 Power 5 champions, 2 at-large, and 1 group of 5. It's got to be those stipulations. Pass or deny, Billy?
Pass.
Mike.
Pass.
All right, moving on. Giving players the ability to profit off themselves any way they see fit. Pass or not, Billy? Pass. Mike.
Pass as well.
That's twice on Saturday.
Number 5.
All about the Benjamins.
Exactly. Forced Notre Dame to join the Power 5 conference. Pass or not, Billy? Pass. Mike.
I'm going to say deny.
Moving on here. Every Power 5 team must play 1 road non-conference game. Pass or deny, Billy? Pass. Mike?
So, like, when you say, like, non-conference road game, like, are you playing it against another Power 5 conference or just a road game in general?
Yeah, like Kentucky must play Rutgers on the road, and Florida State must play
Pass.
Oklahoma.
Pass.
Okay. And the final one here. Players can transfer anywhere they want and play immediately if the coach leaves. Pass or deny?
I thought that's already how it is.
Yeah, it is.
No.
It's not?
No, you still have to stay out of here.
No, if your coach leaves, you can play immediately.
Yeah.
I don't believe that was passed because that's the problem that a lot of kids are having here with Louisville. Like these Louisville kids can't leave and.
No, if your coach gets fired or he takes another job, you can transfer immediately and play. That's one of the only stipulations that you have that you can play outside of a hardship.
That's not when did that happen? Because last year
look it up.
Left, we'll look it up, but if you're wrong, you both get docked 1,000 points because that was the problem with Tennessee. The dude who bounced from Tennessee to California, and all the players from Tennessee had to stay at Tennessee or sit out a year.
No, if your coach leaves a transfer, like how Jimbo left this year, say DeAndre Francois, whoever wanted to leave the team right away, you could, and you could play right away. You don't have to sit out a year.
All right, guys, we'll have to look into this one. I'm going to look it up here real quick. Billy, do any of y'all have a rant you want to take us out on?
I don't want to talk about the same stuff, so I don't have a rant. I'll just propose this question to Mike.
Okay.
While you look that up for us.
Okay, just give me 1 second here. Like I just looked up the transfer rule here, and it said in mid January a potential basically saying like if a coach leaves and you decide to leave in January, you do not have to sit out a year, just as long as you are enrolled in that new school by the end of January. Just
example, if the Louisville coach, if a player can leave now from Louisville and go anywhere he wants.
Yeah, and he can play next year. Just as long,
I think correct.
Just as long as it is approved by both colleges. Which I guess if Louisville wants to be butts about it, they could say no. But
yeah, that's kind of like what Alabama do. Alabama say that you can transfer, or the SEC in general. That's their rule within the conference that once you transfer, you can't transfer to any school in conference. So that's why they normally have to leave and go to another conference.
All right, so Billy, what's your question?
I don't have a rant, man. I don't have a rant today.
I got a little bit of rant. You guys mind me to take
go
the floor
ahead,
here? So,
Sure.
I've been quoted on some other shows that, like, I think the college bowl season is the most overrated time of year. These games on the 15th through Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, usually aren't very fun to watch. There's a bunch of teams that we never seen before, but so far this year, I have been kind of taken back. There have been a lot of exciting games. There are a lot of kids playing their hearts out there. This is their final game of their career, looking to make an impression on the NFL scouts. Maybe get invited to the pro day stuff and all that good stuff. So I applaud those teams this year, but overall, general, I think the bowl season needs to be rethought. Maybe pump up the like you have to win 7 games to be bowl eligible. Maybe cut the bowl games down 10, 15 games, just so there's more excitement out there. That's all I'm saying.
All right, guys. Well, that includes the show. We kind of got derailed there with. I'm still looking at this rule because everything I see says you still have to sit out a year. We'll get to the bottom of this. We'll have an answer for you tomorrow. I'll probably be wrong on this as usual, but join us tomorrow. Mike, where can they find us on our way out?
Guys, we're on iTunes. We're on live on YouTube right now. Be sure to go ahead and click on those links. We're also on iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Amazon Podcast as well. That's a new trending thing there, so be sure to check that out. So that's where we're at.
All right, we're out.